Su Han traveled through the wilderness and unintentionally saved a beautiful woman. The two of them fell in love and got married and had children. Who would have thought that this woman was actually the Empress Yunxiao? At the time of Fengshen Liangjie, Tong Tian captured Yunxiao back to Jiejiao Island. Now, the three bear kids stopped working and kept asking Su Han where she had gone every day. Su Han had no choice but to fabricate and claim that your mother was a respected and prestigious Ju Dalai, and that she had been taken back to Jiejiao Island by old master Tong Tian. The three bear children are innocent and naive, believing themselves to be true. That day, they attacked Jiejiao Island and destroyed Penglai Immortal Gate. My eldest daughter Su Ro, with a Hongmeng Taoist body, is invincible from birth and invincible in the world. Old Master Tong Tian, let go of my mother, otherwise I will enter Jiejiao Island and destroy your sect. My second daughter Su Yi has a clear understanding of the path of the formation, and can open up the great formation of heaven and earth. Her palm has 3,000 prohibitions. Old Master Tong Tian, let my mother go, otherwise I don't recommend opening the Hongmeng sword formation and annihilating your orthodoxy. Su Chen, the third son, is proficient in refining weapons and has a congenital spiritual treasure at his disposal. Big sister, second sister, why talk so much nonsense to them? Look at the divine power of my newly refined Hongmeng 4 holy swords. Let's first pacify the Bio Palace. Keywords of the novel. Honghuang. Wife in the clouds, cute baby hits Jiejiao Island with no pop-ups, Honghuang. Wife in the clouds, cute baby hits Jiejiao Island. Download the complete text. Honghuang. Wife in the clouds, cute baby hits Jiejiao Island. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Cute children attack, chaos spirit treasure. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1, Cute children attack, chaos spirit treasure. The sky and earth are vast, and the great road is boundless. The pattern of flood and famine has undergone significant changes. After the return of the 6 saints to the throne, the 4 teachings were established to educate all sentient beings. As a result, the era of sages officially entered the era of famine. Shouyang Mountain was originally a Taoist temple for the saints of the Qing dynasty. Later, due to the slaughter of the human race by the demon tribe, the human race migrated here and became one of the ancestral sites of the adult race. At this moment it is clear to see that at the foot of Shouyang Mountain, there is a human tribe standing in the towering forest, which is like a paradise in the world, with men farming and women weaving, and they are harmonious and beautiful. On the bright day, there was a young man in white, carrying a huge rabbit demon, walking towards the depths of the tribe. He is handsome, with an extraordinary demeanor. Even if you take a glance at him, he may seem a bit bookish. Not bad, not bad. Chen Er had been making a fuss about eating spicy rabbit heads before, but coincidentally encountered a rabbit demon and asked him to eat enough. Su Han muttered while walking, with a happy smile on his face. I don't know why. The next moment, he seemed to have thought of something, with a worried expression on his face and a sigh. Hey! In the blink of an eye, 1,000 years have passed, and it really feels like another world. I don't know if Yunar is safe or where she is. Yunar, our child is already 5 years old. When you left, you forcibly gave birth to them, causing their origins to be incomplete. I nurtured them for thousands of years, and they were successfully born 5 years ago, fulfilling your instructions. Don't worry, everything is fine with me and the child. These 3 bear kids are all mischievous and have very good skin, especially Roer and Ear. Their eyebrows look exactly like yours. If you could see them, you would be very happy. Unfortunately, you only left their names and hurriedly left, but you never saw them at all. Both my child and I miss you very much. Where the hell are you? Su Han let out a bitter smile, and the woman who had haunted her soul appeared again in his mind. In fact, he was originally a traveler who traveled to the wasteland world tens of thousands of years ago. With a sign-in system in hand, he traveled throughout the wasteland and received countless rewards. With his supreme cultivation, he also witnessed the dangers of the wasteland and the struggle between gods. Feeling slightly tired, he finally arrived at the ancestral land of the human race in Shouyang Mountain and started a simple life. Originally, he didn't enjoy fighting and became accustomed to idle clouds and wild cranes. After becoming a saint through preaching, there is no desire, and it is not bad to think of surviving until the end of time. But suddenly one day, a woman broke into his life. The woman's name is Yunxiao. She was seriously injured and on the brink of death. She wandered to Shouyang Mountain and was picked up by Su Han to rest in her home. At that time, Su Han didn't think much and took care of her all the time. But when Yunxiao woke up, it seemed that he didn't want to mention his past and present lives. No matter how he asked, he couldn't figure out why. Helpless, Su Han could only keep it. Perhaps it was the loneliness of 1,000 years, or the palpitations of a red phoenix. As soon as they came and went, they developed a mutual affection and got married in this human tribe. After marriage, the two had a great love and affection, and the following year Yunxiao became pregnant. Su Han is also a father for the first time, and he is truly extremely happy. Just when he thought he would continue to be happy like this. Who would have thought that one day, Yunxiao would sacrifice all 3 children out of her body, leaving behind 3 famous notes and disappearing like this. Su Han has already become a saint. Seeing this result, he immediately deduced from the heavens. But he suddenly realized that there was no more information about Yunxiao in this world. The vastness of the wilderness is so great that if it cannot be deduced, even if he searches frantically, there is no result at all. Due to the forced stripping of the child's body at home, the source is incomplete, and he can only give up searching for a wife and stay at home to supplement the source for his 3 children. However, he knew in his heart that Yunxiao's actions must have a reason behind them, and one day she will come back. Su Han's thoughts drifted far away, and a happy smile hung on the corner of his mouth. Once he was alone, carefree, and able to roam freely. But now it's different. He has 3 children. He couldn't help but feel happy from the bottom of his heart when he thought of his 3 mischievous bear kids. Farewell to Lord Renxian. Farewell to Lord Renxian. Lord Renxian has gone to kill demons again. Seeing Su Han's return, all the men, women, and children in the tribe greeted him kindly. Upon hearing this, Su Han smiled lightly and said, "Hee hee. I'm lucky to meet a rabbit demon today. Anyway, we can't finish eating. If you're free tonight, come home and let's have a few drinks." There are a total of 129,600 wise people in the human race, but with the disappearance of the remnants of Emperor Hua, they have also fallen to 7788, leaving very little. After Su Han retired, although he deliberately concealed his cultivation, he was recognized by the human race and became one of the wise people due to his strong strength. However, he is unassuming and approachable, and is also the most popular among the tribe. Upon hearing these words, the human race no longer apologized and nodded in agreement, saying, "All right. Your Highness. I already knew that Mr. Renxian has good craftsmanship, so we won't hesitate. Okay, come home that night. You guys busy first, I'll go home and see the children." Suan smiled and prepared to go home first to see the 3 bear kids. But at this moment, the human race who had previously agreed on the side laughed and said, "Renxian, the 3 young masters have never been at home. They should have gone out to play." Upon hearing this, Su Han gave a faint smile and nodded, "I think I went crazy again." He is not worried at all about these 3 bear kids in his family. After all, he has already become a saint, how can a child be ordinary? He helped 3 bear children complete their roots, achieving the ultimate innate divine foundation. He was born as the great Luo Golden Immortal. Now, 5 years have passed, and the 3 of them have long proven that the great Luo Golden Immortal is perfect, and they can also be considered as one of the great powers in the wilderness. With the advent of the era of sages, saints do not participate in the mortal world, and the quasi-saint's great divine power is the ceiling of combat power. Those with great powers disdain to bully the younger generation. So, the strongest person walking in the wilderness now is Dalao Jin Xian. The three bear children are all perfect beings of the great Luo Golden Immortal, and they will soon be able to prove themselves to be true saints. As long as they do not provoke saints to be true saints, there is no need to worry too much. Since the three bear kids are not at home, Su Han is not in a hurry to go home. At this moment, a group of human beings surrounded him in the middle and envied him, saying, "Master Ren Xian, these three treasures in your family are amazing. Seeing their abundant immortal talents, they can evoke strange phenomena in heaven and earth when they are born. In the future, they will become a human immortal. The human race is desolate. The remnant of Emperor Hua was beheaded for 9 generations. Therefore, in today's human race, not to mention earthly immortals and heavenly immortals, even a human immortal is rare. The human race is humble. They have seen Su Han as the bravest human race, and they all believe that Su Han should be a human immortal. They continued to say, Lord Ren Xian, just now I saw Lord Chinner carrying 4 divine swords and leaving with Lord Roer and Lord Ear. They said they wanted to pacify some islands, but I didn't hear them clearly. However, the 3 young masters are truly ambitious. Ha ha ha, our human race is about to rise. The speaker has no intention, the listener has a heart. Su Han immediately realized something was wrong. What island? Jiejiao Island. Is it difficult or not? Is Chinner carrying 4 Hongmeng holy swords out to pacify Jiejiao Island? This something's going to happen. Nowadays, there are floods and dangers everywhere, and the 2 tribes of witches and demons are in a lively state. If they were to play wildly around Shouyang Mountain, they wouldn't encounter any danger unless the demon gods come. But if they go to Jiejiao Island, it will be a bad thing. Jiejiao Island, but there really is a saint sitting there. Damn it. It's all my fault. I have to brag and say that their mother is Jiejiao de Luo. They won't really bring the Hongmeng 4 sacred swords to Penglai in the East China Sea to save their mother, will they? Pifu is innocent and harbors a grudge against him. He is a 4-mouthed chaotic spiritual treasure, and even a saint cannot remain indifferent. Something big is going to happen. Thinking of this, Su Han didn't care about the rabbit demon. He threw it down, jumped up, and tore open a space, then crawled in and disappeared in place. Now, those human race are completely confused. This, Master Ren Xian has broken through the void. Could it be that Lord Ren Xian had already proven himself as a golden immortal? P.S. New book data is very important, kneeling down to collect and read, kneeling down to request a recommendation ticket. As long as you send out a recommendation ticket, the author will immediately add updates and activate the explosive update mode. Thank you very much, Ors, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Jiejiao Dalao. Yunxiao Fairy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2, Jiejiao Dalao. Yunxiao Fairy. Suan only hoped that these 3 little ancestors were just joking and did not personally go to Jiejiao Island. Otherwise, it's like stepping into a tiger's den. Jiejiao is mostly a demon, and the concept of the human race is to eat food, vessels, livestock, and trade goods. Although the 3 of them have already proven that the great Luo Golden Immortal is complete, there is no need to worry even if they enter the truncation sect. Strange as it may be, there is really a saint sitting in the Dharma. Especially they went with the Hongmeng 4 sacred swords. Not to mention the chaotic spiritual treasure, even the innate spiritual treasure will be regarded as a treasure by the great supernatural beings of the wilderness, and they will be looted and sold out. Pifu is innocent and harbors a guilty conscience. Even if it were that sage, seeing this precious treasure would still make one moved, wouldn't it? He was impatient and didn't dare to delay for a moment. He pierced through a void and only hoped to reach the East China Sea as soon as possible, find the location of Penglai immortal domain, and stop these three little ancestors. In fact, the three siblings Su Rou, Su Yi, and Su Chen had no concept of the term mother. Since their birth, they have also been peaceful. But as they grew older, seeing that all the children in the tribe had mothers made them envious to the extreme. So they began to constantly ask Su Han, where exactly did their mother go? At first, Su Han also tried his best to perfunctory. But with the bombardment of the three bear children, he had no choice but to fabricate that their mother was the Dalai Lama, the most beloved disciple of the saints of the Upper Qin dynasty. The two fell in love, betrayed religion, eloped, and landed in Shouyang Mountain, starting a secluded life. Later, the leader of the Tongtian sect discovered that Yun'er had escaped and arrested her. At that time, Su Han, in order to convince his three siblings, made bold promises, saying that once he achieved his cultivation, he would break through the Penglai immortal sect and enter the Golden Ao Island to save his mother for them. He has no way of knowing who Yun'er is, even if he forcefully deduces, he can't find any information at all. He originally wanted to give his three siblings a thought and let them know that there was resistance from the sage, and their mother couldn't come back for a while. But who knows, all of this is just such a coincidence. Su'in's soul is haunted by Yun'er, who is the fairy of Jiejiao Dalao Yunxiao. He probably couldn't even dream that the cow he boasted about would come true at this moment. Penglai in the East China Sea, Jinao Island. The three immortals cave heaven. Bixiao and Yunxiao stood at the entrance of the cave, wandering incessantly and impatiently. And at this moment, buzz! A mysterious divine sound came out loud, followed by a powerful pressure that could penetrate through heaven and earth. Upon seeing this, Yunxiao Bixiao immediately turned around and bowed, frowning and praising, Yunxiao. Bixiao. I've met Master. In vain, immortal mist rose one after another, and the misty purple air extended for tens of thousands of miles. And above the clouds, a majestic figure slowly descended towards the three immortals' cave, stepping on the void. If you carefully observe behind its head, it has already condensed into three Honghuang heavenly palaces. This also represents that this is a saint of the Honghuang triple heaven. That's right. This person is the leader of the Truncation sect, the sage of the Upper Qin dynasty, and the heavenly one. The sky slowly descended, with no sadness or joy on his face. He said in a deep voice, "How about it?" Yunxiao still refuses to admit his mistake and wants to make a fuss to go out. As the words fell, holy sounds rushed towards her, causing both Bixiao and Yunxiao's hearts to tremble. Yunxiao finally calmed down and immediately became the chief inspector. With a trembling voice, she said, "Master, not yet. But what's wrong with older sisters?" As she spoke, she felt her surroundings start to freeze. She quickly knelt down and continued speaking with a stiff face. "Master. Sister just wants to be with that mortal forever. Isn't it true that I teach without discrimination? Even if that ordinary person has no cultivation, as long as they are brought to me for teaching, we can pass on their immortal methods and ensure that they can become a ground immortal. The palm has a lifespan of 129,600 years, right? Perhaps when Nufan life insurance finally sleeps, sister will give up. Now, my sister is restless and increasingly haggard. If this continues, her Tao heart will collapse. At that time, I will also lose a Dalai Lama. Yunxiao is usually the most obedient, but for the sake of her sister, she is willing to accept an ordinary person as her brother. In law. As long as Yunxiao can pick herself up, she can do anything. Even defying the heavens. Bixiao also meant this, and immediately knelt down with Yunxiao. "Please help me, Master." Watching his two disciples kneel down to plead for the sky, Tong Tian lowered his eyes slightly, frowned slightly, and then passed away in an instant. In fact, he teaches all immortals to come to the court, and the most essential thing is his disciples. But since the beginning of Yunxiao worship, the talent displayed has made him happy. It's not an exaggeration to say that Yunxiao is his most beloved disciple. Originally, he only had 4 personal lineages, but when Yunxiao became an entry-level disciple, he not only accepted Yunxiao as a personal lineage disciple, but also promoted Xiao Gongming, Yunxiao, and Bixiao together to become a personal lineage. Of course, Yunxiao also lived up to expectations and was promoted to Dalao in one fell swoop, which made Tong Tian value her even more. How could he possibly allow Yunxiao and Immortal to become a Taoist couple for the sake of sect inheritance? I saw Tong Tian scan the 2 women's eyes and say in a deep voice, "Be resolute, you will suffer from their chaos." There is a difference between immortals and mortals. Even if that human race has outstanding talent and can cultivate into a ground immortal before dying, or even rebel against the heavenly immortal, how can he keep up with the pace of the clouds? All of this is just a cloud-like obsession. She was just a strange teacher. She didn't turn against Yuanshi that day for the sake of Shiji. Anyway, as a teacher, it's time to straighten things out and let Yunxiao return to his original intention. Now that the battle of witchcraft is nearing its end, I will deduce that the next level of calamity is related to the interception of teachings, and we cannot let Yunxiao sink any further. You too told Yunxiao that if she continues to be stubborn, even if she travels through the wilderness as a teacher, she will still find that human race, annihilated, and not enter reincarnation. After speaking, the leader of the Tongtian sect waved his sleeve and disappeared outside the 3 immortals' cave. Yunxiao and Bixiao looked at each other helplessly. They know very well that the master will do what he says. Sister. At the same time, in the sky of the 3 immortals' cave, the clouds were in a daze, leaning against the edge of the bed, holding a mouthful of precious jade in his hand, looking dazed. That is a token of love given to her by Su Han. But now that things have changed and people have changed, I have missed you for thousands of years, but I can't even see you once. Roer, Chener, you should have grown up too. Empress also wants to see you. The clouds choked up, tears had already dried up, but now 2 streams of blood and tears flowed down my cheeks. Husband, it's all my fault for not saying goodbye and leaving you alone to take care of 3 children. It's really hard, isn't it? I regret it so much, I'm really regretful. If it weren't for hearing about Shiji Jr. sister's fall and returning to Jiejiao, our family would have been very happy together, right? Blood and tears streamed through the clouds, with regret written on his face. Back then, her cultivation had already recovered. It was heard that Shiji, who had gone out of the mountain gate with her, had an accident. She couldn't care too much and was afraid that the fetus in her womb might be sick. She even forcibly removed the fetus from its body and used 1/3 of its original source as a carrier before heading to Kunlun. But to everyone's surprise, when she arrived in Kunlun, Shiji had already died, and she was also discovered by the leader of the Tongtian sect and directly brought back to Jiejiao. This is the reason for her sudden disappearance. It's too late to say anything now. Shiji Jr.'s sister has fallen, and she's also trapped in this golden Ao island. Don't give up half a step out of the island. Now, she sobs uncontrollably, and even if she regrets everything, it won't help. Roer. Chener. It's all my fault. Mom, I'm sorry to you all. Mother doesn't even know what you look like. Mom, how I wish I could take a look at you all. Even if I take a glance and let my mother die, I am willing to do so. Husband, I'm sorry. I miss you so much. She held the jade, her longing became ill, and her pain was unbearable. But she never dreamed of it. Now, the 3 treasures she is longing for are outside the Penglai immortal realm, planning how to save her. New book set sail, kneel down to collect, follow up, and recommend tickets. In the new book period, data is really important. If you Taoist friends find this book interesting, then welcome to collect it. Kneeling down for a recommendation ticket. Just 1 picture. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. making a big fuss in Penglai, shouting loudly to the sky. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 4. Serving the 7 Immortals, Suppressing with Golden Hoops. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 4. Serving the 7 Immortals, Suppressing with Golden Hoops. In front of the Penglai Immortal sect, several disciples guarding the gate were all frightened and dumbfounded by the sudden appearance of a heavenly elder. Is this little girl too bold? Calling out the names and taboos of the saints of the Upper Qing dynasty, and threatening to break through the immortal gate, pacify the Golden Ao Island, and let Jiejiao change his master. How on earth did she say such treacherous words? Is she not afraid of the sage's anger and killing him here? Human race, 5-year-old true immortal, wielding the god-killing spear. She wouldn't think that just this alone could make such a fuss in front of the sage's door, would she? Silence. Several gatekeepers were all stunned in place. After a moment, a disciple finally came to his senses, his face darkened, and he immediately scolded, "Bold human race. I don't know the height of heaven and earth." Full of crazy words, criticizing the sage, quickly retreat, otherwise don't blame us for taking action to suppress. He also saw that Su Ro was too cute and couldn't bear to die like a jade. So, it's important to drive away quickly, it's better to scare Su Ro away directly. But Su Ro is not an ordinary person, even if she is so intimidating. Humph. I'm serious. Su Roji's voice was childish, and her eyes, like black gemstones, were filled with determination. You are just the gatekeepers of the sect, and I won't make it difficult for you. Hurry up and pass on the message to old Master Tong Tian. No matter how late it is, don't blame the murder gun in my hand for being impolite. As the words fell, several gatekeepers glanced at each other and rolled their eyes. It seems that this little girl is going to persevere and shout until the end. The disciple who spoke frowned and said in a deep voice, "Forget it, since she doesn't know what's good or bad, let's catch her first. There's no need to disturb the sect leader. Let's hand it over to the Golden Hoop Immortal senior brother who is on duty today." Upon hearing this, the disciples guarding the gate nodded. Although their cultivation is low, they are all true immortals. Several true immortals face one true immortal, and even if the other has a divine killing spear by their side, they are confident and fearless. But just as they had just turned around and decided to draw their swords to suppress Su Ro. Buzz. Suddenly, a treasure roar resounded, and the divine killer spear let out a long hiss in his hand. Immediately, Su Ro swung the divine killer spear and a crimson spear shot out, sweeping away all the gatekeepers who were preparing to surround her for millions of miles. At this moment, in front of the Penglai Immortal sect, there were only 2 gatekeepers left standing still, looking bewildered. This, she's keeping her hands on it. Otherwise, she might have killed all those senior brothers as soon as the gunshot hit. The gatekeeper's disciple's face was full of fear, and he turned pale in shock. I never imagined that a seemingly immortal little girl from the human race could suppress them all with just one blow. Hurry up and invite the rotating Golden Immortal and Golden Hoop Immortal senior brother. This crazy girl is not easy, it's not something we can handle anymore. Jiejiao has 7 immortals to serve, and now each one is a golden immortal. Even the highest cultivation level among them, the Dark Cloud Immortal, has reached the realm of Tai Golden Immortal. They will also take turns outside the Penglai Immortal Gate, and today it is the Golden Hoop Immortal on duty. After a simple report, a green-robed Golden Immortal was seen spinning 12 golden hoops around his body, flying towards the Penglai Immortal sect in a lively manner. Who is so bold as to dare to harm my sect disciple? His demeanor is extraordinary, and between his words, there is a clear aura of golden immortality that permeates the world. Upon hearing this, Su Ro only raised her eyes slightly, then pointed the divine killer spear at the Golden Hoop Immortal on her back and said in a low voice, "Are you their head?" "Okay, then it's up to you to call out Tong Tian Lao heir. Remember, let Tong Tian Lao let my mother go together, otherwise don't blame me for being impolite. She spoke in a domineering tone. But these words fell into the eyes of the Golden Hoop Immortal, but they were so ridiculous. A 5-year-old girl from the human race dares to shout so loudly in Jiejiao. Are you truly immortal? Hehe, I really don't know the vastness of heaven and earth. You are the same. I usually don't focus on cultivation, but now I am being bullied like this by a little girl of the same level. It's really embarrassing for me to cut off my teachings. Well, after Brother Wei captures this little girl, let's go to the Hall of Rewards and Punishments to receive punishment. After speaking, the Golden Hoop Immortal doesn't want to communicate too much with this human race. I saw him flip his hand and the floating golden hoop around him was immediately sacrificed. Buzz! A hollow and mysterious treasure resounded, followed by golden lights blooming one after another, as if heading towards Su Ro Hoop. The speed of the golden hoops was extremely fast, giving Su Ro no chance to react, so they directly placed them on her head and limbs, even attaching 2 golden hoops to her waist and neck. Seeing this, the Golden Hoop Immortal burst into laughter. Ha ha ha. Isn't this little girl as strong as you say? Even though she is truly invincible, she still cannot escape the golden hoop of being her brother. Seeing that Su Ro was trapped, the other gatekeeper disciples also agreed with a flattering expression, yes, yes. You still have to be the Golden Hoop Immortal senior brother. Thanks to senior brother's action, we can suppress this little girl. However, senior brother, this little girl just spoke wildly and didn't use all her strength to deal with us. It's better to give her a simple lesson and cure her arrogance. With the proposal of this disciple, the Golden Hoop Immortal also nodded. Well, indeed, she was young and ignorant, speaking without restraint, but she never died of guilt. You don't need to report this to the teacher. Senior brother, great kindness. A gatekeeper disciple is still very satisfied with this result. After all, their skills are not as good as humans, and they have no choice. Especially this little girl is so cute and lovely. Apart from her mouth not forgiving, she can also be considered as having a pure heart, not to be involved in the Intercept Church and sentenced to death. The Golden Hoop Immortal also has this idea, and he has selfish intentions. For some reason, he always felt a bit close to this little girl. Perhaps it was because this little girl was too cute that he couldn't help but feel pity for her. So, he only intended to punish Su Ro a little, so he let her go. Little girl, today I will impose punishment on you. You should also know that there are people outside of us, and there are heavens outside of us. Truncation has never been a place where you can be reckless. As long as you admit today's mistake, I will release you now. Let me go. Su Ro glanced at the Golden Hoop Immortal with a silly expression. Are you just a few broken hoops trying to trap me? Hee hee. Bang. Bang bang bang. In an instant, Su Ro only exerted a gentle force, and the golden hoop that was bound to her body broke one after another. Kaka kaka. Kaka kaka. As the golden hoops were broken by Su Rozhen, the Golden Hoop Immortal also suffered a backlash. Puff. He spewed out a mouthful of divine blood. This time, he was shocked, staring at a pair of eyes bigger than a bell, with a face full of words that he couldn't believe. How could this be possible? He was stunned and lost his color, with fear in his eyes. And Su Ro didn't waste any time, pointed her gun up and said coldly, if all of the teachings in Jiejiao were from you, there would be no need to come again. Hurry up. Let your sect leader come out, otherwise, I will really be impolite to you. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Hongmeng Sword Formation. Zhu Xian Avenue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5, Hongmeng Sword Formation. Zhu Xian Avenue, shocked. Everyone present was shocked. They seemed to have been suppressed by Su Ro's aura and could no longer move. They could only stare blankly as Su Ro took off the gold bands one by one and then squeezed them into powder in their hands. Dot. Puff. 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 Every time Su Ro crushed a golden hoop, the golden hoop immortal would spray out a mouthful of divine blood. There's no way, these golden hoops are all refined by the essence and blood of the golden hoop immortal. The golden hoop is both his and his. Now the golden hoop has been crushed, and he has already been seriously injured before he even starts fighting. Upon seeing this, the disciples who were guarding the sect showed signs of fear. Terrifying. This is too scary. Senior brother's golden hoop is made of Shouyang red copper, which is already indestructible and a top-grade acquired spiritual treasure. How could it be directly crushed by this human race girl? They were simply stunned. And it was at this moment that the golden hoop immortal finally knew that this little girl from the human race was not joking at all. He endured his serious injury, stroked his chest, and quickly shouted, "Quick! Hurry up and gather the intercepting disciples, activate the island protection formation, there are foreign enemies coming." In an instant, with the issuance of orders from the golden hoop immortal, crowds of people gathered in front of the Penglai immortal sect. Among them were true immortals, golden immortals, and even some Tai demons, stepping on the eternal Milky Way and rushing towards the Penglai immortal sect, revealing their tens of thousands of zhang of true Dharma forms and surrounding Su Ro in groups. Suddenly, the front of Penglai immortal sect became completely lively. Tens of thousands of external immortals have surrounded this place, making it impassable. 10,000 immortals come to the court, with 10,000 characters representing the meaning of abundance. Su Ro frowned and in just 3 breaths, she gathered tens of thousands of Taoist priests to teach. If she gave them some more martial arts, it was feared that even those great Luo biographies would come here. It seems that the talks have come to an end. She pouted and let out a bitter smile. Faced with tens of thousands of Taoist priests, she did not show any signs of fear, just as third brother said, if the Taoist priests were to take action, even if she could kill them all, she would be exhausted. Moreover, Su Han has always taught them that the flood and famine are dangerous, and people's hearts are treacherous. If she is dragged here, not only will it ruin the plans of her second sister and third brother, but she may also be targeted by other flood and famine experts. It will be troublesome then. Thinking of this, her spiritual eyes turned and she leaped forward, holding a god-slaying gun and stepping on the forehead of the demon in front of her, flying towards the East China Sea. Humph. You guys are not obedient. Okay. No wonder we're being impolite. Putting aside these words, Su Ro's figure gradually drifted away. The golden hoop immortal looked at the distant figure, frowning coldly and feeling even more uneasy in his heart. Damn it. She still has an accomplice. Hurry up. Hurry up and chase after her, take her down, and then ask her to explain to her accomplices. Bring back all the teachings for my brother. Hurry up. Good. Upon receiving the Taoist order, a revered Taoist priest immediately flashed and transformed into streams of light, all chasing towards Su Ro. Su Ro looked at the relentless pursuit of Jiejiao Xian and couldn't help but feel speechless. She sighed and said, "Ah. If it weren't for agreeing to follow Chinner's plan, let alone you, even if all of you come, you wouldn't necessarily be my opponent." Humph. Since you are stubborn, let's try my second sister and third brother's skills. As she spoke, she had already arrived at a cloud and shouted towards it, "Chinner. You can set up a big formation now." Upon hearing this, the golden hoop immortal and those who chased after them were all stunned. Big formation. They won't still hold a large formation, will they? Mind him. How many years old can a human doll become a big formation even if they master the formation? It's better to catch them first. Don't be fooled. Hurry up and catch them. Jin Jiaxian shouted loudly, the matter has already escalated. If we can't catch them, we won't be able to explain it to the teacher. Go quickly. Good. Upon hearing this, a revered Taoist priest immediately pulled his speed to the extreme. At this moment, after that cloud, Su Chen saw Su Rose return and was already excited with a mischievous smile on his face, rubbing his hands. Immediately, he grinned at Su Yi, raised his small hand, and immediately solidified his sword finger. Hongmeng 4 Holy Swords. Come out. Hongmeng Sword Formation Diagram. Get up. In vain. As he condensed a magical power, the 4 divine swords he carried behind him also pierced through the void and emerged, flying towards Su Yi. Buzz. 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 Swords roared across the sky, and an endless cold sword energy rose up. And the newly carved Hongmeng sword formation also floated into Su Yi's hands. Second sister. It's up to you. Okay. Su Yi reached out her small hand and grabbed the formation diagram of the Hongmeng sword, striking out a magical force. Buzz. Just listen to a resounding sound of treasure. Immediately, the formation diagram of the Hongmeng sword drifted towards the sky. She was extremely nervous. After all, this Hongmeng sword formation was improved by her based on what Su Han said about the immortal slaying sword formation, and this is also her first time setting it up. Whether it can succeed or not, and how powerful it really is, it all depends on today. Hongmeng sword formation. Get up. She became even more determined, with a loud shout. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. 4 divine swords emerged from the sky, suppressing the heavens and earth, heading towards all 4 directions. Immediately after, chaotic sword energies rose one after another, transforming into a large formation and soaring incessantly, standing outside the Penglai immortal realm. The endless chaotic energy intensified, and the Dao Dao's evil energy rose up and spread throughout the 9 heavens and 10 places, presenting a sweeping force that swept through the 6 harmonies and 8 wastelands. Big sister, third brother, quickly withdraw. Look at me piercing through the Penglai formation. The Hongmeng sword formation is rising, and the avenue of immortals is coming out. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With Su Yi shouting loudly. In an instant, the heavens and earth shook, and the sky turned pale. Within this Hongmeng sword formation, a faint avenue rose up. Zhuxian Avenue. Kill all the immortals in the world. The Zhuxian Avenue can be said to be the most restrained path towards immortality in the wilderness. It implies the true intention of killing immortals. Once this avenue is launched, one can exterminate the immortals of heaven and earth, break through the immortal path formation, and it is simply an easy task. Immediately. I saw chaotic sword energies rising incessantly, converging into a giant sword with infinite sword intent standing on top of the Penglai immortal domain. It implies the true intention of killing immortals and presents the true intention of repeating the earth's water, fire, and wind, pushing everything back to the ruins. Terrifying. It's really terrifying. In a short blink of an eye, the revered Taoist deity had already stopped and looked at this scene with disbelief. They even received the Daoxin warning. I'm afraid that as long as this sword falls, they will instantly lose their souls. When they are at a loss. Suddenly. Bang. The giant sword standing upright between heaven and earth slashed down. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. Under this sword, the infinite East Sea was cut in half. Seawater diversion, crossing endlessly. Even the heavens and earth in this area shook together. New book set sail, kneel down to collect, follow up, and recommend tickets. In the new book period, data is really important. If you Taoist friends find this book interesting, then welcome to collect it. Kneeling down for a recommendation ticket. Just one picture. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Shocking and shocking, shocking to the sky. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 6, Shocking and Shocking, shocking to the sky, heaven and earth shake, and the East China Sea flows apart. Under the slash of that huge divine sword, the boundless East China Sea was cut in half like a real object. The void on one side was shattered by the boundless sword energy, and the sound of the empty roar spread for millions of miles. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. The Jiejiao immortals who were chasing them all stopped in their tracks, even those Tai Yi demons couldn't help but swing their legs, sweating profusely. Death. This is their first time facing death directly. The Hongmeng sword formation is simply too terrifying. Among them, the true meaning of the infinite immortal slayer was fully revealed, as if in essence, forming a sword domain. They can even feel that whenever they touch the sword domain, it will make their souls fly and their bodies die, even the imprint of the true spirit will be annihilated. Dot. 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 They dare not move any more, even if the three siblings are standing opposite them at this moment, they are all frozen in place, motionless. Quiet. Silence. A deathly silence. The turbulent sea level was chopped in two sections, and the raging waves seemed frozen at this moment, unable to stir up any more waves. Just seeing this, Su Ro and Su Chen not only didn't feel happy, but also gave Su Yi a big white eye in the direction she was in. Second sister. This can also be done. Second sister. I'm too disappointed with you. Upon hearing this, Su Yi spat out her tongue and explained, Hee, I haven't thoroughly studied the formation diagram of the Hongmeng sword yet. It lacks some control. I apologize, I apologize. Turning her head, Su Yi pondered over the formation of the Hongmeng sword. In theory, this Hongmeng sword formation is an evolved formation based on my father's description and my understanding of it. It should not be wrong. But based on the power of this formation, the difference from what I imagined is too big, right? Is it because of my poor aptitude that I don't have enough understanding of the Hongmeng sword formation? She pondered, more focused on her obsession with the path of formation. However, if there is a knowledgeable immortal present, one will definitely be shocked by this formation. If Su Yi's aptitude is too poor to comprehend the true essence of the great formation, then perhaps no one dares to call the formation invincible in this vast wilderness, right? It is just the embryonic form of a Hongmeng formation, not even a complete formation, which can already create such power. If this great formation is truly condensed and then placed by the sage, it may easily annihilate the entire wilderness, right? She didn't know why, so she carefully considered it. At this moment, Su Ro was clearly impatient and frowned, saying, Second sister, when you thoroughly study, they will have taken my mother to another place. Why don't you give me the Hongmeng 4 holy swords? I'll just kill Jiejiao Island and save my mother. Su Ro is like this, always so impatient. Seeing this, Su Chen scratched his head and said with a silly smile, Big sister, don't worry. Second sister must have noticed the clues of this Hongmeng sword formation before she began to realize it. Let's just wait a little longer. With the support of this Hongmeng sword formation, they won't be able to fight. We need to trust second sister. At this moment, the Golden Hoop Immortal, who had just been lifted by the aura of the formation, had flown back to the Penglai immortal sect. He gazed at the large formation in front of him and couldn't help but vomit uncontrollably with Taoist blood. He couldn't help but strike a spirit and said, What kind of formation is this and why does it look so familiar? Crucially, if this formation were to attack the Penglai immortal domain, perhaps the island protection formation would collapse in the first place, right? After realizing it, he was completely shocked. Little immortal unexpectedly carrying a large formation, the key is its infinite power, unparalleled in killing and attacking. No way. You must report to Master. After making up his mind, the Golden Hoop Immortal didn't care too much and quickly shouted at the Jiejiao Immortal who was out to defend the enemy, quick. Quickly withdraw from Penglai and close the island protection formation. I will go report to Master now. After speaking, he didn't look back and flew towards Jiejiao Island in a flash. And those stunned Taoist priests also dare not procrastinate, immediately retreating to the Penglai immortal domain and never daring to confront them again. Jiejiao Island. At this moment, under the strong attack of a large formation, the entire island also began to shake wildly. A group of revered Taoist immortals stepped out of their own cave and gathered towards the Bio Palace. Even Yunxiao was forcibly pulled out of the cave by Yunxiao and Bixiao, and rushed to Bio Palace. After entering the Bio Palace, everyone saw the leader of the Tongtian sect holding high on the altar, with a hint of astonishment on his face, and he passed away in an instant. However, at this moment, Yunxiao saw that all his fellow disciples and master were in good condition. He immediately shook off Yunxiao and Bixiao and bowed to the head of the Tongtian sect, saying, "Since master is in good condition, I will go back first." After speaking, she was about to turn around and leave. At this moment, the head of the Tongtian sect raised his eyes slightly and said with a resentful tone, "Yunxiao, do you really want to be a teacher for the sake of a mortal? Don't worry too much about the friendship between teachers and brothers." Faced with the questioning from Tongtian, Yunxiao did not respond. He just didn't know what was on his mind, and his eyes showed a hint of happiness. Upon seeing this scene, Tongtian's angry expression relaxed slightly, and he furrowed his brow slightly. He slapped the divine table and said, "Clouds. I'll give you another chance as a teacher. As long as you no longer have any connection with that mortal from now on. You should still cut off the teachings and pass them on personally, enjoying supreme honor. Not only that, being a teacher can also protect ordinary people from worries. If you persist in not understanding, even if you are a teacher who has gone through the ages, you will still pull out that mortal, annihilate its divine soul, and break the path of reincarnation." As the words fell, the other Taoist priests also began to persuade. "Junior sister, you should lower your master. For the sake of a mortal, it's not worth it to hold on to your thoughts and cut off the path of immortality." "Yeah, junior sister. The human race is the most humble race among all races. The average life expectancy is only 100 years, and even if one diligently cultivates to the limit, it will only last for thousands of years. Maybe that human race has already died. Is it worth it for you to disobey your master like this? Senior sister, my intercepting mission is about to be robbed, we need you. Please think twice, senior sister." Everyone's words made the cloud slightly dazed. But in the next moment, her gaze became even more determined. She kowtowed 3 times to Tongtian and immediately replied, "Master, you are revered as a saint. You are truly revered. My disciples also have no rebellious feelings. It's just that Su Lang and I are in love, even though he is a human race, I don't mind. I just ask my master to let me go and spend the rest of my life with Su Lang. When he grows old, I will have no worries and can wholeheartedly teach me to go through fire and water. To be honest, the path of cultivation is long, and immortality is the most ruthless. But it was Su Lang who taught me what love is, and he let me know that living is not just about proving the Tao. And talking about love is also a kind of cultivation. Master, I teach without discrimination. I teach according to my aptitude. Master, if I am trapped in it, why hasn't it cut off my path of cultivation?" Faced with the questioning from the sky, Tongtian remained speechless. He teaches 10,000 immortals to come to the court, and what he lacks the most is disciples. But he values Yunxiao's talent, how can he bear Yunxiao to sacrifice himself in this great calamity? It seems that there is still not enough reflection. He frowned coldly and said in a deep voice, "Yunxiao, Bixiao, take your sister back and take good care of her." Just when he wanted to say something more. Suddenly, the golden hoop immortal, however, anxiously fell into the Bio Palace and shouted, "Master! Master! Not good! Someone has attacked the Penglai immortal domain. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Merciless counterattack. Her father is here. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7, Merciless counterattack. Her father is here. Seeing this situation, Tong Tian frowned lightly and immediately pinched his fingers to calculate. But when he deduced Zhou Tian, he suddenly realized that he had signs of being backfired. A saint. Unexpectedly unable to deduce all the information about the incoming enemy. Is it difficult or not? A saint has attacked. He is a bit confused. In theory, his sage Dharma blessed Penglai, and if an external enemy attacked, he could perceive it without anyone reminding him. But what about this time? Even though Jiejiao Island shook, he did not receive any warning. Who else can wield such means besides saints? Fortunately, he is in this Bayou Palace. If he were to practice in seclusion, he might have his lair taken away and he would have no way of perceiving it. Thinking of this, he let go of his anger and sneered, Don't panic, speak quickly. Who is so bold as to dare to invade our Jiejiao Island? Is it difficult to explain? How many people have they come? He was suspicious. Upon hearing this, the golden hoop immortal shook his head and extended 3 fingers. Looking at it all, his eyebrows furrowed and he said, 30,000 immortals have arrived. If elucidation doesn't have such a great skill, can it be a demon race? Have they come to invade our Jiejiao Island instead of fighting against the witches? As the words fell, the golden hoop immortal shook his head like a tambourine and quickly said, Master, it's not preaching, nor is it a demon race. It's a human race. Moreover, only 3 people came. 3 people. Tong Tian suspected that he had heard wrong. But the golden hoop immortal nodded confidently and said, That's right. Master. They have 3 children here, and the disciples observe their bone age for only 5 years, all of whom are true immortals. Tong Tian's eyebrows furrowed even deeper. 3 true immortals. Is it worth your panic? Are you playing as a teacher? His face turned black, and he was so frightened that the golden hoop immortal quickly knelt down and said, Master. Master. I have no empty words. It's really a true fairy doll from the 3 People clan. However, they have a large formation in their palm with infinite power, and their disciples observe it. It's a bit like the immortal sword formation. Upon hearing this, Tong Tian finally became interested. Zhu Xian sword formation. Surprisingly, someone was able to simulate the immortal sword formation and block their own messages, making it impossible for them to even peek. All of this is too illogical. He must see with his own eyes who has such great skills and dares to pretend to be a god and play tricks in the Penglai immortal realm. At the same time, Su Yi seemed to be enlightened and immediately smiled, Big sister, 3rd brother, I finally know where the problem lies. The formation diagram of this Hongmeng sword is incomplete, and we cannot control its sword intention field. Since that's the case, we just need to push this large formation horizontally for 1,000,000 miles to shatter the Penglai formation. Upon hearing this, Su Chen scratched his head and grinned, Big sister, can I just say that 2nd sister is okay? However, big sister. I specialize in refining, and this kind of brute force requires you to do it. As the words fell, Su Ro rolled her eyes and said, If you're afraid that I'll kill the enemy and tire you out, then you're not afraid that I'll push the formation and tire you out, right? With a complaint, she leapt forward and came to the front of the Hongmeng sword formation. She lifted her 2 small jade hands and pushed them towards the large formation. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. I saw that the grand formation spanning millions of miles was actually slowly advancing towards the Penglai immortal realm with Su Ro's push and movement. Thunder rolling in the sky, evil energy flying wildly. As the formation moves, endless killing intentions connect heaven and earth. Chaos sword energy flourishes one after another, replaying the earth, water, fire, and wind. Wherever you go, it completely presents the intention of returning to the countryside. Seeing this, all the truncated immortals who retreated to the Penglai immortal domain were shocked. How could this be possible? A true immortal, how could it possibly push the great formation horizontally? Wait. These three ancestors don't want to use this formation to confront our island protection formation, do they? The sword just now cut through the sky and destroyed the earth, demonstrating its infinite power. If it falls on the island protection formation, we may all suffer a backlash. No, where did these three little ancestors come from? Isn't the human race humble? When did such a strong person emerge? Bold and daring. This is simply bold and daring. They dare to invade the truncation sect. Aren't they afraid of the wrath of the sage? One by one, the Duanjiao immortal was stunned and completely stunned. They have all witnessed the power of this large formation, and it is inevitable that they can split open the island protection formation. And as long as that sword falls, not to mention the island protection formation, even the ones who maintain the formation will be completely scared. It's over. Encounter three dumbfounded youths. The first ones to suffer are them. Just as they were still in a state of shock, Su Chen stood behind Su Yi, revealing his small brain. He raised his fingers and pointed at the intercepting immortals with high spirits, shouting, "Listen up. As long as you let my mother go, we will leave and will never make things difficult for you. If you don't comply, as long as I give a command, once the sword formation falls, everyone will die. I'll count 3. 3, 2. Before he could finish speaking, the Taoist priest quickly waved his hand and said, "No. No. No. Little ancestor. You want to save your mother, I understand, but you also have to tell us who your mother is." He wants to cry without tears, he can only take a fight. As soon as these words were spoken, Su Chen let out a silly smile, scratched his head, and looked at Su Yi, second sister, "What does your mother look like?" Su Yi rolled her eyes and said, "Hee hee. You don't know, I already know." At this moment, Su Ro, who was pushing the Hongmeng sword formation horizontally, said, "Did you forget? Our father said, when my mother gave birth to us, she was Dalai, the most talented woman in the world. Now, perhaps she has already become a saint and is the most prestigious woman in the world." "Yes, yes." Su Yi agreed and nodded. At the next moment, Su Chen and the two of them exchanged a glance, understood and quickly shouted in a childish voice, "Listen to me. My mother is the most talented sage in the world. Find me a saint." If this statement falls, those Taoist priests who protect the sect will almost cry. You three ancestors are looking for us to be happy. The sage with the highest talent in heaven and earth is still a female saint. In this world, perhaps only the Queen Mother Wa has agreed to the request, right? Saying that she is the mother of all human races is also in line with common sense. But you should go to Chaos Wa Palace to find Empress Nuwa. What are you doing in the Penglai immortal domain? The Taoist priest wept and said, "Three little ancestors, it's indescribable that saints are respected. Who are we who can come and go as soon as we call them? You're making it difficult for me to wait." Su Chen frowned and said, Okay. It's your stubbornness, second sister. Let's go." Su Yi quickly nodded. "Raise your small hand, pinch out a magic decision, and even if you want to condense it into a huge divine sword, cut towards the Penglai Island protection formation." Seeing this, everyone was shocked. They didn't expect that these three little ancestors would launch a grand formation if they didn't agree. In an instant, the entire Penglai immortal realm was in chaos. But just as that sword was about to annihilate this world, suddenly, "Stop it!" shouted the heavens and earth in a stern voice. Upon hearing these words, all three bear cubs couldn't help but tremble. They turned their heads and looked back, but their faces changed greatly. Damn it. Dad is here to catch us. New book set sail, kneel down to collect, follow up, and recommend tickets. In the new book period, data is really important. If you Taoist friends find this book interesting, then welcome to collect it. Kneeling down for a recommendation ticket. Just one picture. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Hongmeng Ruins. Capturing 3 children. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Hongmeng Ruins. Capturing 3 children. Before a person arrives, the sound comes first. After hearing the sound, the 3 bear kids couldn't help but shiver. They are not afraid of heaven, not afraid of earth, only afraid of Su Han. That's suppression from the bloodline. Run quickly. Split up and run. Su Ro, as the elder sister, shouted loudly. After hearing the elder sister's call, the other 2 children also ignored the Hongmeng sword formation and turned into a fleeing light, scattering in all directions. Will Su Han let them run away? At this moment. Kaka kaka. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. Heaven and earth suddenly change, and the void shatters. On top of the East China Sea, this vast expanse of sky had a huge opening. The next moment. With thunderous sounds, a crystal-clear giant arm pierced through the void and stretched out from the crack in the space, grabbing the 3 children and directly catching them in its hand. Dad! Let go of us. We're wrong. Su-yi pursed her lips, her pitiful little eyes flickering with pity. But Su Han never appeared from beginning to end, just holding a towering arm and holding on to 3 bear children, giving them a small punishment. Fortunately, his divine gaze swept over the Penglai immortal realm and found that the Hongmeng sword formation set by Su-yi had not damaged Yunxiao. In this way, it was not considered a problem. He is not afraid of the Heavenly Master. Even if the Heavenly Master personally visits, it is not his opponent if he wants to. He's just used to being idle and doesn't want to participate in these sectarian disputes. Moreover, finding Yun'er is the most important thing. If he were to expose himself, it would be detrimental to him if the enemy first approached Yun'er. Dad! Dad! We really know we're wrong. This time, even Su Ro, who has always been strong, lowered her head and whispered softly. Su Chen also agreed and said, yes. Dad, we won't dare again in the future. Just spare us. Seeing these 3 lovely children all knowing their mistakes, Su Han couldn't bear it anymore. He grabbed them with a big hand and sternly scolded, "Humph. In front of outsiders, I'll save you some face and see how I'll deal with you when I get home." Upon hearing these words, the 3 arrogant and domineering bear children who had just faced the challenge of cutting off all immortals immediately wilted. In Su Han's hands, they were like obedient kittens, never daring to say a word more. Seeing this, Su Han didn't procrastinate either. After all, if there was such a big commotion, I believe I would have rushed out as soon as possible if I were in the dojo all day long. In order not to expose himself, he grabbed with a big hand and immediately closed the void, and their figures completely disappeared before Penglai. Immediately after, the 4 holy swords of Hongmeng swung around and followed closely behind, entering the closed space crack. The Hongmeng sword formation was broken, and the entire East China Sea returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. Just as the void was dying, a childish voice came from within. Dad! My Hongmeng sword formation diagram. Are you really treating that junk like a treasure? No more. At this moment, as Su Han and his family disappeared into the void, the tens of thousands of Jiejiao immortals who protected the formation collapsed to the ground, as if surviving a disaster, panting heavily. Call. Can you send these little ancestors away? Yeah. If their dad doesn't come, the Intercept Island protection formation might be broken today. The key is, who can teach these three little ancestors? I can't believe it, it must be a great supernatural being. It's just a pity. If such a powerful figure can be recruited into the martial arts world, then my martial arts world can skyrocket in strength. Do you want to teach with those three little ancestors? When they thought about the demeanor of those three little ancestors just now, they couldn't help but shudder, and they didn't even want to recall it anymore. Suddenly, in the sky, a brilliant blue light slid down like a falling star. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. The brilliant star fell to the ground, showcasing its charm and endless killing intent, to the extent that it smashed a massive vacuum pit millions of miles into this boundless East China Sea. The revered Taoist priests looked at each other in confusion. It was precisely at this moment that they suddenly remembered that this might be what the fathers of those three little ancestors had said about being shabby. When everyone opened the immortal gate and looked towards the deep pit, they were completely bewildered. Such a level is comparable to an innate treasure, although it is damaged, it is also infinitely mysterious. They treat this as junk. One by one, the revered Taoist immortal was sweating profusely, so shocked that they could no longer speak a word. At the same time, the leader of the Tongtian sect had just left the Bio Palace, and the other disciples also left completely after persuading Yunxiao. At this moment, in the vast Bayou Palace, only the three heavens and the Golden Hoop Immortal remain. The Golden Hoop Immortal shook his head and sighed, with a hint of helplessness in his eyes. Ah! I claim to have a high level of cultivation. Even in serving the seven immortals, my cultivation is limited to senior brother Wuyan Immortal. But who would have thought that I was defeated by a 5-year-old human doll? Sad. Sad. He smiled bitterly, as if he had been greatly hit. At this moment, Yunxiao seemed to have thought of something and was suddenly taken aback. Soon, she waved her hand to Xiao and Bixiao, asking them to leave the Bio Palace. Then, she came to the side of Jiejiao and forced out a bitter smile, saying, "Junior brother." Upon hearing this, the Golden Hoop Immortal regained his senses and quickly turned around to salute, saying, "I have seen senior sister Yunxiao." Yunxiao shook his head with a bitter smile and said, "Junior brother, don't be too polite. We used to have a good relationship with you and Shiji junior sister, and I have always regarded you as my younger brother. You don't have to be like that. Hey! Senior sister, don't disobey your master anymore. Immortals and mortals are different, this is an eternal truth. However, senior sister, everything is up to you, and I won't advise you to compromise on this. But senior sister still needs to take care of her own body. The situation is chaotic now, and the world is in constant calamity. If you break your body, even if the master asks you to go out, you may not have found your companion yet, and you will fall into the calamity." The Golden Hoop Immortal quickly befriended the Yunxiao siblings, but now it's not a pleasant sight to see Yunxiao increasingly haggard. The clouds never know. Well, thank you very much for your concern, junior brother. But I'm not here for this matter. I want to know, what happened to the 3 human race dolls you just mentioned? 3-person tribe doll. It's impossible to harm the Golden Hoop Immortal. The Golden Hoop Immortal is one of the 7 immortals worshipped, and its realm has reached the perfection of the Golden Immortal. The human race is withering, not to mention the Golden Immortal. It's even harder to find the immortal now. Although she did not detect Su Han's deficiency and reality at the beginning, she also knew that Su Han was definitely not as weak as he appeared on the surface. So, can those 3 ethnic dolls be their own 3 children? End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Hongmeng 4 Swords. Shocking the Sky. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 10. Heavenly Enlightenment. Demon Ancestor Luo Yen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Heavenly Enlightenment. Demon Ancestor Luo Yen, how could this be possible? The leader of the Tongtian sect compared the Zhu Xian formation with the Hongmeng formation, and then he couldn't help but be shocked and pale at that holy face. Seeing the loss of sage demeanor, he took a deep breath and stabilized his holy appearance. But the shock in his heart was hard to shake for a long time. There is no other reason. Only because he found that the Immortal array and the Hongmeng array were not unrelated, they were exactly the same. The Hongmeng formation is not only poorly crafted, but also has a more immature branding technique. In other aspects, it is several times more refined than the Zhu Xian formation. Even from its divine imprint, one can vaguely observe a hint of the true meaning of the immortal slaying avenue hidden within it. Shocked. I can't believe it. The diagram of the immortal killing formation was created by the demon ancestor Luo Gui's comprehension on that day. Once the immortal sword formation is set up, it must be broken by the four saints. Based on this point, the immortal sword formation can be revered as the first killing formation in the wilderness. Even the 12 heavenly gods Sha formation and the Zhou Tian star Do formation are slightly inferior. But now, the leader of the Tongtian sect can see from the Hongmeng formation that it is more perfect than the Zhu Xian sword formation. If we use the Hongmeng formation as the main enlightenment and then improve the Zhu Xian sword formation, its power may be magnified dozens of times. Thinking of this, the leader of the Tongtian sect did not procrastinate at all, scrutinizing the Hongmeng formation, hoping to comprehend one or two from it. At this moment, the leader of the Jiejiao immortal observing sect on the side was all like this, inevitably causing discussions. Is the Hongmeng formation so powerful that it can make the sect leader moved by it? Isn't that right? You don't know, just the path it has evolved to eliminate immortals can annihilate all immortals in the world. I think this Hongmeng formation was carved after the Zhu Xian formation. I have had the privilege of seeing the main character of the Hua Zhu Xian sword formation. Compared to the real Zhu Xian sword formation, the Hongmeng sword formation not only evolved into the Zhu Xian avenue, but also appears more immature. So it's a replica. It had to be the leader's immortal slaying sword formation to defeat the unsurpassed, but unfortunately those three little children ran away. Who said it's not? But those three little kids' father must also know the sect leader's divine power, so he quickly captured them. The sect leader is invincible. Intercept and prosper. At the end of the discussion, the revered Taoist priests became completely excited. They even believe that Su Han caught the three bear children back because he was afraid of the heavenly master. Only the golden hoop immortal knows. That is to say, those three little children are setting up the Hongmeng sword formation. If it were for his unknown brother in law, perhaps today this Penglai immortal realm would be completely disrupted. There is no other reason, even those three little children are so powerful. Will their father be very weak? Seeing the disciples deceiving themselves with smiles, the golden hoop immortal instead smiled bitterly and shook his head, without saying much. He always remembers his promise to Yunxiao and never mentions it to anyone else. Of course, I won't put all my speculations on the surface. Just as he was still thinking about where to find his three little nephews. Suddenly. Buzz. Just listen to a divine voice echoing through Penglai. Next up. Buzz. 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 The four swords roared and roared on the golden Ao island, rising from all four directions, emitting brilliant divine lights and evolving into billions of chaotic sword energy, making the entire Penglai immortal realm have the meaning of repeating the earth, water, fire, and wind. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. With a loud rumble. Heaven and earth suddenly change, and divine swords roar together. The leader of the Tongtian sect held a comparison between the Hongmeng formation and the Zhu Xian formation, then condensed his sword finger and casually drew two strokes against the Zhu Xian formation. The next moment. Bang 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 bang. Endless sword intent erupted, and the four divine swords evolved into chaotic sword energy for billions of miles, condensing into a huge and incomparable divine sword. Buzz! That huge divine sword, after emitting a sword roar, struck this world with a slash. Bang 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 bang. Bang 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 bang. The sky collapsed and the earth split, and the seawater flowed. Even the island protection formation personally set up by the sage on that side was pierced by this huge divine sword. Barriers rose up one after another, but they were unable to resist the infinite sword energy. On the protective island formation, tears welled up one after another, like a spider web cracking in all directions. Kaka kaka. Bang. In just a moment, the island protection formation is shattered. All the truthful immortals did not react, and the four divine swords landed once again on Jiejiao Island. The world has returned to its original state, as if nothing had happened. The next moment. Hua hua hua. As the seawater flowed again, everyone regained their senses and their eyes were filled with excitement. They all bowed to the leader of the Tongtian sect and loudly praised, "We congratulate the leader of the sect on the success of the Hua Zhu Xian sword formation. The sect leader is invincible. Intercept and prosper." That's right. They could see that just now the leader of the Tongtian sect had set up the immortal slaying sword formation. With just one strike, the island protection formation was annihilated. If it were in the past, it would probably not have been possible to complete it in an instant. The leader suddenly realized. With the blessing of this immortal slaying sword formation, we must stand undefeated in the martial arts world. But just when they are excited, the leader of the Tongtian sect is not happy at all. In an instant, he realized the true meaning of the immortal sword formation and solved the problem he had been unable to comprehend for tens of thousands of years. But he really can't be happy. Human race. 5-year-old true immortal. Can we really promote the performance of the Hongmeng sword formation, which is even more terrifying than the immortal sword formation? No. This is absolutely impossible. So, all the initiators should be the fathers behind those 3 little children of the tribe. Who the hell is it? A saint? Or Buzz? Suddenly, the head of the Tongtian sect is clear-headed, as if enlightened. A name that seemed like a taboo appeared in his mind. Luo Yen. Demon Ancestor. He furrowed his brow slightly and immediately shouted in a deep voice, "Where is the Golden Hoop Immortal?" The Golden Hoop Immortal also had a bewildered expression, not knowing why. After calling out to him from the heavens, he immediately moved forward and bowed, saying, "The Golden Hoop Immortal has seen his master." The heavens nodded silently, with no sadness or joy on their faces. You participated in the entire incident of the human race's little child invading Penglai. Have you observed that besides this Hongmeng sword formation, they have also used any Lingbao? Faced with Tongtian's inquiry, Jiejiao deliberately concealed it. It's just the process of using Lingbao to conquer and intercept the teachings of the human race children. Not only did he see it, but he might as well tell the truth. Anyway, that little human child used a god-killing spear, and Tong Tian would never think about it in the sky. After realizing this, the Golden Hoop Immortal immediately said, "Kill the divine spear." One of the little children used a spiritual treasure, which was the first exotic treasure to be killed in the wilderness, the killing god spear. Now, Tong Tian is even more certain. The father of those 3 little children of the clan must be the reincarnation of the demon ancestor Luo Gui. Hongmeng sword formation. Killing god spear. There will definitely be no mistake. He. Luo Yen, it turns out that you have been reincarnated into a human race and hidden away. But since this seat has discovered it, this seat must find you. End of this chapter.